Six people were invited to a house in the middle of a storm. But the moment they walked in, they realized something was wrong. Because on the table, there was a list of names, and all of them were on it. Now here's the strange part. None of them were friends. None of them were family. But deep down, each of them already knew why they were there. The house sat alone, facing a dark, violent sea. Rain slammed against the windows like it was trying to get in. Inside, six strangers stood around a long wooden table. Nobody spoke, but everyone was watching everyone. One woman finally broke the silence. Her name was Claire. You could tell immediately she was used to being in control. The kind of person who didn't like waiting, and definitely didn't like not knowing what was going on. She stepped forward and picked up the envelope in the center of the table. It was heavy, cream-colored, sealed with thick black wax. "We're not standing here all night," she said. But even she hesitated for just a second. Then she broke the seal. The sound was sharp, like something had just snapped. She pulled out a single sheet of paper, and when she looked at it, her expression changed. Because written on that paper were six names: Arthur, Claire, Silas, Maya, Ben, Ivy. She recognized them. All of them. Names from her past. Names she had tried very hard to forget. And at the bottom of the page, there was a message. Six names. One decision. By dawn, one life ends, so the others may stay hidden. Then suddenly, a red light flashed. A digital clock appeared on the wall. 45 minutes. And it started counting down. 44:59. 44:58. One of the men stepped forward. Arthur. Older. Nervous. "What does that mean?" he asked. "One life ends." Then a voice came from the corner. Cold. Calm. It was Silas. "It means someone knows," he said. "It means we have 45 minutes to decide which one of us isn't leaving this house." The rain got louder. The room felt smaller. And for the first time, they stopped pretending. Because this wasn't random. This wasn't a mistake. Someone had brought them here for a reason. And the first secret was about to be exposed. In less than 10 minutes, everything started falling apart. Because the truth was no longer hidden. And everyone in that room had something to hide. The clock kept ticking. 42:15. The sound of it started to feel louder than the rain. Nobody wanted to speak, but the silence was worse. Then someone broke it. "You don't remember me, do you?" Everyone turned. It was Maya. She looked young, nervous, but there was something in her eyes now. Something sharp, something angry. She was staring directly at Claire. Claire frowned slightly. "I meet a lot of people," she said. "Should I know you?" Maya took a step closer. 12 years ago, she said. "The Lakeside Development Project. You were the lead executive." Claire's expression shifted, just slightly. "My father worked on that site," Maya continued. "He warned you. He told you the building wasn't safe." The room went quiet. "You ignored him." Claire folded her arms. "That situation was handled in court." Maya let out a bitter laugh. "Handled?" "The building collapsed. My father was trapped for 6 hours. He never walked again. No one moved. You paid people to lie," Maya continued. "You covered everything up and walked away like nothing happened." Claire's face hardened. "Be careful what you accuse me of," she said coldly. But the damage was already done. Everyone in the room was now looking at her differently. Then, a low chuckle came from the side. "Silas. So that's one," he said casually. "One secret out in the open." He looked around the room slowly. "Now the question is, who's next?" The clock ticked louder. 40:03. That's when another voice spoke. Deep. Heavy. "I recognize you." It was Ben. He was staring at Arthur. Arthur froze. "You're a doctor, right?" Ben said. Arthur swallowed. "I used to be." Ben stepped closer. 5 years ago," he said, "there was a car accident. A young man was brought into your ER. He was alive." Arthur's hands started shaking. "But he didn't make it," Ben continued. "Because of a mistake. That's what the report said." Arthur shook his head quickly. "It wasn't like that. That boy was my nephew." Ben snapped. "Silence. He was the only family I had." Arthur's voice cracked. "I was exhausted. The hospital was understaffed. It was an accident." But even as he spoke, it didn't sound convincing. Maya shook her head slowly. "No," she said. "It wasn't just an accident. You took the blame, so the hospital wouldn't be sued." Arthur looked down. He didn't deny it. "I just wanted it to be over," he whispered. The room felt colder. Then Ivy spoke for the first time. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. And what about you, Silas? Silas looked at her. You seem very comfortable exposing everyone else, she continued. What's your story? Silas smirked slightly. I don't make mistakes. Ivy tilted her head. Really? What about the missing girl case 3 years ago? Silas' expression changed. Just a little. You found her, Ivy continued. But you didn't tell her parents. No one moved. You told them she was dead, so you could collect your money, Ivy said softly. And then you took money from the girl to keep her hidden. The silence that followed was heavy. Silas didn't speak. He didn't deny it. The clock ticked. 38:50. Now everyone was exposed. No one was innocent. And the worst part, they were only getting started. Then suddenly, the table began to hum. A low vibration spread through the room. Everyone turned. A hidden screen flickered to life in the center of the table. It showed a map, a place they all recognized. A town. The same town where everything had gone wrong. And then a new name appeared. Not one of the six. A different name. At the top of the screen. The seventh name. And in that moment, they all realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about them. Someone else had been watching. The whole time. They thought there were only 6 of them. They were wrong. There had always been a 7th person in this story. The room went completely silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They all just stared at the screen. The name glowed at the top. The 7th name. And for the first time, fear replaced anger. Who was that? Arthur whispered. No one answered. Because deep down, they all had a feeling. This wasn't random. This wasn't a game. This was planned. Carefully. Patiently. And whoever was behind it knew everything. The map on the table zoomed in slowly. Street by street. Road by road. Until it stopped. A small town. Quiet. Forgotten. But not to them. Every single one of them had been there before. That was the connection. Claire stepped back slightly. This doesn't make any sense, she muttered. But it did. It was starting to. Maya's eyes widened. This is where the project was built, she said slowly. Ben clenched his jaw. My nephew's accident happened near this road. Silas narrowed his eyes. The missing girl. She was from this town. Arthur looked like he was about to collapse. The hospital. It was the only one in that area. Ivy didn't say anything. She was just staring at the screen. Thinking. Putting it together faster than the others. This isn't about separate mistakes, she said finally. This is one story. Everyone turned to her. Everything we did. Every decision. It all connects back to this place. The clock ticked louder. 34:12. And then suddenly, the screen changed. The map disappeared, replaced by a single sentence. You built this. No one breathed. All of you. The message continued. Piece by piece. Lie by lie. Decision by decision. The room felt like it was closing in. And now, the words appeared slowly. You will finish it. The lights flickered again. The heartbeat sound returned. Louder this time. Faster. Matching the panic rising in the room. This is insane, Claire said, shaking her head. We're being manipulated. No, Maya said quietly. We're being judged. Silence. Then a sound. A click. Everyone froze. It came from the door. Slowly it unlocked. But nobody moved toward it. Because they all knew. This wasn't freedom. This was part of the game. Silas took a step back. Whoever is doing this is watching us right now. Ivy nodded slightly. Not just watching, she said. Waiting. The clock continued. 32:47. Time was running out. And the worst part? They still hadn't made a decision. One life. That was the rule. One of them had to die before the time ran out, or something worse would happen. Arthur looked around the room, panic in his eyes. We're not actually going to do this. Right. No one answered him. Because now, the question wasn't if. It was who. And in that moment, they all realized the truth. They were never invited to survive. They were invited to choose. And the real nightmare? The choice had already begun. And that was just the first secret. Because in part 2, they start exposing each other.